Welcome to the Tough Talk Podcast, your weekly sports podcast rambling and debating all your favorite sports. Previews, recaps, predictions, and more. Only here at Tough Talk. Be sure to follow along on Twitter at Tough Talk Pod. Now, here are your hosts, Christian and Derek.
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. How are you, Christian? I just muted my mic for a minute on the very beginning of that. That was perfect.
Good, fantastic. No problem.
So, how you doing today?
Well,
it's been a while since we. Yeah, I was about to say it's been a while since we've been here. How are you?
Yeah, good. We got a little bit of bugs obviously right off the bat, but that's all good. We'll knock it out real quick. It's good to be back. I'm glad that we finally decided to continue to do this, and I'm looking forward to having a great time with our new layout here.
Absolutely. I'm interested to see how this goes, and I'm hoping that everybody finds this just as entertaining as it was last time. And we're trying to make it a little bit shorter so it's easier for everybody. So, you ready to go ahead and get into subject one?
Absolutely. Let's kick it, man.
All right, let's go. First subject, we're going to be talking about the Chiefs-Lions. This looked like playoff football at the end of September. It looked amazing. The defenses actually looked really good. I feel really bad because of how much stuff I talked on the Lions preseason, because that offensive line is actually holding up. The defense is actually doing decent. And Matt Stafford is having some fun with his new toys, I think. And it's going to be interesting to see what they got. You got anything you want to add real quick?
I just think it's really funny that we have to talk about this, about Detroit being a decent team and a team to actually be looking out for an NFC North after all the crap you talked about in that AFC North prediction show we had a couple weeks back. I said this out loud. Matt Stafford was a safe bet for the Lions, and you disagreed with me, but hey, check him out now. He's doing pretty good. We'll see what happens when they play this week. But yeah, Detroit's not a bad team. We'll see what happens in the NFC North. On the Chiefs side of the ball, man, these guys are incredible. I mean, they probably are number one in the power rankings, in my opinion. I think they beat New England out. Mahomes plays fantastic. The guy ran in a scramble and looked at the referee when he was running to see if they threw a flag. Like, he's just on a whole other level. Fantastic play by this guy. Chiefs are going places this year.
You know, honestly, I do like the way that Matt Stafford's seeing the field right now. I think he's doing pretty well. The running game behind him didn't look too bad Sunday. That could be one of the glaring weaknesses in the Chiefs' defense, if I'm being completely honest. Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. He did what he does. He went out there and he just showed why he's a winner. It's unfortunate he's in the AFC West, and I'm going to have to deal with this guy for the next 5 to 10, 15 years. But that's the way the game goes.
Yeah.
As far as the Lions go, I feel like this is that pre-season energy going into the first 6 weeks, and we're going to see what happens with the final 10 weeks after the first 6. I think they may run out of energy. They may run out of steam. And I think what happens if Matt Stafford gets hurt again? That was the one thing I brought up preseason that we didn't see and we're not seeing yet, is Matt Stafford hurt and Matt Stafford on his ass a lot. We don't see him, taking a lot of sacks right now, and that's really helping him and making him look like a good quarterback. And when he has time, he can find open receivers, and this offensive line is giving him some time, even against the pass rush like the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs did get to him a few times, but, I mean, that was about it. There wasn't a lot of hits on him. There wasn't...
Yeah, and you imagine... Now, imagine when Tyreek Hill comes back for the Chiefs, too. These guys are going to be even more incredible. I think the Chiefs are going to have a fantastic run. They're probably going to be your number one seed moving forward, barring injury, of course. And then talking about the Stafford injuries as well, I mean, who knows what happens. But right now, their running game, receiving game with Hawkinson and all those guys looks pretty good.
All right. Well, we've already hit our 3 minutes on that subject, so this is working out pretty well, actually. We're in the buzzer right now. So, all right, let's go ahead and talk about some Bills-Pats. Again, looked like playoff football. I love both of those defenses. I think this is the best two defenses in the entire league. Josh Allen, in my personal opinion, I'm going to let you talk about it a little bit more, but Josh Allen just looked a little indecisive out there for me. I also think that hit on Josh Allen was not a legal hit. I think that was a pretty cheap hit. I'm surprised there was no suspensions on that. I kind of want to bring that up a little bit later. We're going to touch on it again. I will be. You guys held no touchdowns for Tom Brady, the best quarterback, the GOAT, and he had no touchdowns against your guys' defense. Go ahead.
Yep.
I want to hear you rant about this for a little bit because I'm sure you're happy to see your defense, but what
I'll
about
tell you
that
what,
offense?
You took the words. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. This was the two best defenses in the league. I will argue that day and night. New England was fantastic on defense. Buffalo was amazing on defense. This defense is going to keep them alive in a playoff hunt all season long. Now, Josh Allen, yeah, he definitely did not play up to par that he needs to play. He's a mobile quarterback, but he needs to be smart on those plays. I was furious when he got hit that first initial time. That flag flew and needed to happen. But, after reviewing it, yeah, I mean, I think that play was a little more clean than it should have been. Yeah, there was a little bit of question, a little bit of gray area, but it wasn't black and white as some of these other hits that we saw this week for sure. But I'll tell you what, I'll talk about that penalty in a minute. I want to keep talking about the Patriots because they were a good team defensively and special teams. That special teams play, they saw something. They got that block punt for a touchdown. That was the game changer right there. If that block punt didn't happen, who knows what would have happened in this game because the defense did not budge whatsoever. And not only did they do well on special teams for the punt blocking, the punt game in itself for New England was amazing because they drove Buffalo into terrible field position left and right over and over again, where Buffalo's punting was atrocious. It was absolutely really bad. And that was a game changer in itself. So not only are we talking a lot about the defenses here, the special teams on New England was a game changer as well. I enjoyed seeing Brady struggle a little bit there, just as a Buffalo Bills fan, but he'll make a comeback soon. And Josh Allen, I think there's a lot of times that he can improve on. Who knows if he plays this week? Because of the concussion protocol moving forward, but that penalty that they flew for the play, even though after looking at it, I don't know if it was personal foul or not. The ref has to throw that flag. When in doubt, they're taught throw that flag. The thing that I have an issue with is for personal fouls, there was also a penalty on Buffalo for holding, but for personal fouls, there should never be offsetting penalties. If you have a personal foul, that should not ever be offset by a hold or anything. A personal foul should always be penalized against the team. That should be a dead ball foul or whatever it is, but offsetting penalties shouldn't happen. Whether I'm saying that just in a bias as a Bills fan, no, I'm not. If that happens anywhere else, personal fouls should be not offsetting. It should be on that. So I'm really strict on that. I really don't like that call at all.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you one bit on that one. I thought it should not be offsetting like you said. And I thought that hit was a little bit dirtier than you think, but that's just me personally because it is the Patriots defense and I think there's always a little extra intention. But so let's go ahead. Let's get into this week 4 recap. And we're going to go ahead and talk about
all right.
Kyle Allen, the Carolina Panthers, Christian McCaffrey. They're 2-0 under Kyle Allen. Do you think, I'm going to ask you real quick, do you bring Cam Newton back?
It's a really tough decision to make on Carolina, but if he's improving and Kyle Allen's still doing well, I don't know. It's a tough call. Cam Newton is a guy who took you to the Super Bowl a couple of years back, but if Cam Newton is not 100% and you have a quarterback in Kyle Allen who's doing well, I think you got to stick with Kyle Allen. But if you have 100% Cam Newton, I think you got to give it to the veteran because he's due respect for it.
Let's see, the thing about Kyle Allen is he did have 3 turnovers in this game. And that did have, that's kind of one of those things that you can't really have 3 turnovers as a quarterback. They were all fumbles. Christian McCaffrey, like I said, this guy he was outstanding out there. He was making the plays that he makes. I'm going to go ahead and let you spin this over to you now for the Tampa Bay game and let you talk about some Jameis Winston.
Yeah, that's definitely the game that I thought was spectacular, just like out of this world. Definitely did not see this happening. The Buccaneers beating the Rams, especially in this fashion. Jameis Winston, I had as a player who was going to be benched by week 4. That's definitely not happening. Jameis Winston is fantastic. He is coming out of this offense with Bruce Arians and Brian Leftwich. Fantastic. I like where he sits. I'm looking forward to seeing if Jameis can continue this play. Can't believe they beat the Rams. Looking forward to see what they do this week against the Saints. So, yeah, that team was impressive. I'm very impressed. What else did you like this week?
I really liked the Jacksonville Jaguars comeback in the second half against the Broncos. At the same time, this is the Broncos offense, or the Broncos defense, so it is what it is. The Broncos defense just got their first sack this week, and it was like poetic justice because as soon as they did, they lost Bradley Chubb for the year. They got 2 sacks in the game, and they lost their first-round pick for the season. That's really unfortunate. The defense for the Jaguars looked lost without Jalen Ramsey out there. They were getting tossed on by Joe Flacco like it was Joe Flacco of 2009 or something. It was crazy. Leonard Fournette, 225 yards rushing. I was glad to have him on my fantasy team this week, and I don't think it'll happen again, but it was pretty impressive to see. Gardner Minshew, to see the poise of him on that last drive to come down the field and win the game was actually a lot of fun. Now I'm going to let you talk about these Cowboys real quick and the Saints.
Yeah, so first of all, Minshew Mania, I want to know if it's real. And Jalen Ramsey is out again this week, so who knows what that defense could be like for Jacksonville. But Saints-Cowboys game, that Sunday Night Football game, that's probably the most important game of the week. And I'll tell you what, the Cowboys didn't look that impressive when they started playing a pretty decent team. Now the Cowboys are out their left tackle. Moving forward, and they got to play a tough Packers squad moving forward this year. Teddy Bridgewater and the Saints looks fantastic. The defense looks really good. The Saints could be a team that continues moving forward without Breeze and still getting them in the playoff hunt. Not even just in the playoff hunt. They might be first round bye contention while Breeze comes back.
Okay. So we just finished up with that subject. There's a little bit of noise on your end somewhere. It went away. Okay. I think it might be your air or something. All right, anyway, so.
Oh, apologies.
No, you're all right. So now we're getting on to the subject I want to talk about the most tonight. Vontaze burfict. First, I'm going to go ahead and let you hear. I want to hear you, the modern fan, tell me why he deserves an entire 1-year suspension.
Well, I'll tell you what. Vontaze Burfict, he's been suspended multiple times, almost 10, if not 10, for PEDs, for suspensions. This guy has a track record of doing terrible things in the league. He almost ruined AB's career. I mean, AB did it on his own this time, but he with a hit. What he did to Doyle was he led with his head with a spear of his head, and he folded Doyle. To me, it was a terrible hit. So I'll tell you what. I like your standpoint. I don't think it's just as the Raiders fan put. I will say that. I like your standpoint, your viewpoint there. But Burfict, I think, deserves to be suspended. Now, he will appeal. He won't be out for the entire year. But what bugs me is if it's continuous, what are we going to have to do to get this guy out of the league or to learn? Is he going to have to ruin someone's career for us to actually learn? I think this season, this 1-year ban is warranted. I do.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say about this is if it's multiple offenders, there's multiple offenders on some defenses that I don't want to talk about because I'm not going to be mean about it, that are PED users, and they keep getting suspended for 4 games, and 4 games, and 4 games, and 4 games. Well, they're repeat offenders too. Why aren't they getting a 1-year suspension? Because they're literally cheating. They're using steroids to try to get in better shape. They're trying to use stuff that's illegal and against the game to get in better shape. Why don't they get longer suspensions if he's getting this long 1-year suspension? And the other thing I want to bring up is the hit on Josh Allen. I feel like there should have been a fine on that, because if we're going to give this guy a 1-year suspension, you're not even going to throw a fine at the guy who hit Josh Allen. That's horrible. The hit on Marcus Peters was targeting. He came at Marcus Peters and targeted him because he just got a pick 6. He targeted him, he led with the helmet, and he hit him in the helmet, and all they did is fine him $28,000. No suspension for that one? But you want to give this guy 1 year? I understand that, yes, he's had a few suspensions here and there, and he is a very dirty player. And that wasn't maybe the best hit. And maybe, just maybe, it wasn't the best idea to wave at the fans and laugh at them when you got ejected. That didn't make things look any better. That kind of makes you look like a savage. Maybe you should have just put your head down and ran off the field. That was bad. So in my personal opinion, I don't even think a 1-year suspension should have ever been warranted or brought out. I think an 8-game suspension is the most you could ever ask for someone to hit like that. It was not near as bad as the Marcus Peters hit, and we're not talking about the Marcus Peters hit. We're not talking about the suspension. All we just now found out was about the $28,000 fine. I feel like that's it's two different ballparks there because
Yeah,
the targeting. It was targeting. All right, so let's go on to let's go on to Thursday Night Football now, and we're getting back to Marcus Peters because we're getting back to that Rams defense. And here we go. The Rams defense, in my opinion, is giving up way too many points this year.
Way too much.
I don't know if Jameis Winston is the real deal now or if this defense is just trash. And I drafted him, so I'm wondering how that's going to go for me in fantasy football. Russell Wilson had 4 touchdowns this week. Hope you didn't sit him.
He's incredible.
Hope you didn't sit him.
Yeah. I'm playing a guy in fantasy, and he sat him. He started Matt Ryan over Russell Wilson. So we'll see if that works out. But I'm happy so far.
All right.
But Russell Wilson, outstanding. He's been playing fantastic.
Metcalf got his first touchdown of the year. I do believe it was the very first one of the year. I could be wrong. Somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. Tyler Lockett looked like a stud out there. He just kept catching everything, and then he had that one catch on the side. That it reminded me of the San Antonio Holmes catch out of the Super Bowl a few years back against the opposite sides, but it reminded me just like it. Will Dissly, I think this guy is a diamond in the rough, and he's becoming that tight end over there.
Think he's for real?
I do. So real quick, you didn't see it, but anybody out there, if you've seen it, it was the worst roughing the passer call I've ever seen on Clay Matthews. I think it was horrible. It keeps happening to Clay Matthews, and it just feels like it's just not right what's going on there. Something just doesn't feel right about the way he gets these roughing the passers. There will be no fine for that hit because it wasn't a roughing the passer, but let you go ahead and talk about this for a minute, see what you got to say.
Yeah, I didn't see the hit on Clay Matthews. I'll be checking it out after this podcast. I missed some of the game because there's so many sports going on yesterday, and that's crazy October for you. But, I'm not surprised. Clay Matthews has been dealing with this ever since they changed this rule. He's been kind of the poster guy for it when he was with Green Bay. I'm not surprised at all with Clay Matthews. I really want to know what's going on with Jared Goff, though. He's had a couple bad weeks. He was fantastic last season. I mean, he started off pretty good this year, too. He's just been really inconsistent so far. He threw bombs last week against Tampa Bay, 500 and something yards, but they were down for most of that game. So I don't know if it's the defense and he's constantly has to change his game plan because they're down or because he's got to throw the ball too much. But I'm not impressed so far with Goff like I was last season.
He reminds me a lot of Brett Favre this year.
His receiver, though. Yeah. I am impressed with his receiving core, though, especially Kupp, because Kupp is fantastic. He had 9 receptions, and you said it was over 100 yards. Fantastic. So, it sucks for Goff, having his defense not help him out, and his special teams, his kicker didn't help him out at the end either.
Yeah, I was about to say, we may as well get in that. Zerline kind of blew that game at the end there. It was pretty bad. But Cooper Kupp this year, he's had 4 touchdowns so far this year. It's been pretty impressive to see. It's nice to see. Did you hear Troy Aikman real quick talk about Cooper Kupp's dad and say he completely realized he didn't know? It was savage. He said he was there for 2 cups of coffee. He said 2 cups of coffee.
Oh, man.
All right, so let's get in.
His dad's just trying to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
And then he just gets crapped on live television.
He heard that and was like,
Troy. Come on, man. You got to do better than that.
All right, so let's get into some Week 5 predictions. Do you think the Bucs are going to be the same team against the Saints this year? Or this week?
Oh, man, I don't know. I want to think that they have that opportunity to be that. I think the Bucs could. But the Saints, the Saints are not the Rams. And the Saints are a team. So I think the Saints are going to blow by this. I think they're going to win this game, I think, by a decent margin. Now, 10 points, 13 points, more than that, Jameis Winston, I think he's going to have a couple of drawbacks here, and it's going to make people a little anxious. So, no, I don't think they're going to be as good.
Okay. I got the Patriots having a bye week in D.C., and then you were telling me Colt McCoy is going to be starting. Do you think Colt McCoy is going to help that bye week any?
Yeah, they can't make up their mind. They can't make up their mind what they want to do in Washington. I think they just need to give up and just move forward, which I think they are doing. That's probably why they're starting quarterback number 3.
Yeah. All right. Bears and Raiders are in London. I'm a Raiders fan. If you guys
Mm-hmm.
can't tell, Khalil Mack, Charles Woodson right over here. I really think the Raiders, the Darren Waller's going to have a good game. It seems like that's the one area of the field that this Bears defense seems to have trouble covering is the tight end position. And I think Josh Jacobs might be surprising a couple people this week because he loves the pressure. However, this is the first time Khalil Mack has seen his whole team, and I know he's going to go for at least 4 sacks on Derek Carr, and I'm hoping he doesn't injure him. You got any thoughts on
Yeah,
that one real
Mac's gonna
quick?
mess you up. I think Mac. Yeah, I think Mac's going to give you some hurting. I think Jacobs is going to have a good game because I think you guys are going to be either without Tyrell Williams or he's going to be not 100%. He's questionable right now. So yeah, Jacobs is going to be one of your guys to look forward to. They definitely want to showcase him more. I think this is one of those times that they do it.
Yeah, I dropped Tyrell Williams from my lineup this week and put in somebody else because I heard he was going to be hurt. All right, let's talk about the Cowboys not trying to drop 2 in a row to the Packers. Honestly, I think it's going to happen. I like the Packers team this year. It looks pretty good early. I like their energy that they're playing with on defense, but that could be the same kind of same kind of energy I was talking about with the Lions, where it could just last a few games. But I still think it's going to last this game. You got anything more you want to add, or you just want to go on to the Browns Niners from there?
Real quick, I will say I like the Packers. I do. I think they had an off week on defense last week, and I think with that takeaway of that left tackle for Dallas, I think Green Bay's gonna have a heyday. I think Green Bay wins.
All right, next game, Browns Niners. I want to see this game. I'm interested in it. Is Baker Mayfield going to be able to do stuff the same way against that 49ers defense that he was last week? He's talking a lot of stuff to media, talking it to everybody, saying, "I hope you remember all the stuff you talked week 1," and blah blah blah. And it's like, come on, man, we're rooting for you here, and you're making it hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think the Browns really got to prove themselves if they want to be, why they're getting all these primetime games. And this is one of them right here. San Francisco's an undefeated team. Are they an undefeated team? Do they deserve to be an undefeated team, I should say? This game's going to be a crucial point for both teams this season. I know it's only week 5, but it's a turning point for one team, whoever loses, in my opinion. Yeah, 100%. I also think I'm going to throw it in there real quick. I know the buzzer's up, but my Bills, whether they're with or without Josh Allen, I like what they got against Tennessee. I don't think Mariota is going to be able to do anything against this defense. Nothing like he did last week. So
yeah,
don't be counting out our Bills.
I really like that
defense.
Derrick Henry does run physical, but I think he's going to run physical for about 50 yards this week. Really enjoy watching the kid
Derrick
run.
Henry, meet Ed Oliver.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think he gets 50 yards tops this week. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to talk about some Week 5 fantasy football predictions. Will Dissly, I think he's going to be amazing this week again. I picked him up, and I'm so glad I did because that was a steal of free agency for me. Another steal of free agency. He's ranked 5th at tight ends right now and has 4 touchdowns already, and he wasn't even the starter week 1. So that should tell you something about how much Russell Wilson thinks of the kid. All right, another kid I picked up on free agency and then dropped him for 2 seconds. Somebody else picked him up and then traded him to you. Talk about Chris Godwin for a minute, why don't you?
Hey, I like it. I like the fact that I got, he picked him up on waiver, so he didn't like his trade value too much. So he didn't value his player too much because he just got him on a waiver pickup. I snuck a trade in real fast and I picked him up. I like him. I do. I don't know if I'm going to start him this week though. I'm really on the edge because of the matchup, and I think Jameis is going to have an off week. So we'll see. But yeah, I like where he's at. You like any more fantasy picks before I move over to maybe like a fan duel? Okay, keep going then.
I got you. Well, real quick, Godwin is ranked number 1 at his position. I did send you a message earlier today saying you should probably start him because he's ranked number 1 at his position right now.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, a lot of people own him, ranked 37th at his position, but I like the matchup this week. Defense doesn't look good up there. I think he's going to be able to take care of them. Sterling Shepard is a good pickup if you can still find him on free agency. He's becoming Daniel Jones' favorite target. He's not going to do good this week. And then Ricky Seals-Jones. He's still available in a lot of leagues, and I think you guys are going to like him because he's taken David Njoku's spot for the Cleveland Browns, and his receptions are going up each week. He had 3 receptions last week, but they were for 82 yards, and you can tell Baker Mayfield likes him in the middle of the field. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give you a full minute, and I'm going to let you talk about this, your fantasy or your FanDuel or If your guys are playing, what's the other one?
FanDuel,
DraftKings.
DraftKings, yeah.
Let
Yep.
you talk
Yeah.
about
So if
those
you're in that
style.
kind of aspect of the game and you're not really talking fantasy, but you're talking that to pay for, I'm all about the stacks this week. Stacks are really going to be where it's at. Real quick, I just wanted to hit something about Sterling Shepard. You were just talking about him.
Yeah.
Reminder that Golden Tate will be coming back this week too. So that's something to keep in mind too. Also, all right, go back to those stacks. Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen. I think that'll be a great stack this week. Phillip Rivers isn't really percentage owned. I don't think he's hit that max yet, so I think you could sneak in maybe a good stack there. Possibly Mike Williams too, if he decides to play or has more than 100%, or he's if he's more capable of playing this season or this week so far. I also do like both quarterbacks that are playing in the Dome this week between Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson. If you can stack Ryan with Julio or even Sanu, I would stay away from Ridley, though. He's been a little off the last couple weeks. And then Watson with Hopkins, obviously. But another guy to worry about or to take a look at with Houston is Will Fuller. Now, he hasn't had the greatest season so far, but he's due for a game. And what better game than doing it against Atlanta, right? So that could be one of those Atlanta's defense has just not really been up to it. And a lot of people are giving Andy Dalton a pass for last week and saying you can still start him because he has been decent in fantasy, but I would give him a break this week and I would sit him. And there's a lot of other better options this week. Stay away from Dalton.
Right, absolutely. Okay, I agree with like everything you're saying. I haven't played much FanDuel this season, so I haven't gambled all my money away this season yet. All right, so let's get into the Rays Astros game. The Rays Astros,
get the baseball.
Right? It was looking good. I watched a lot of it today. Justin Verlander, now third all time in postseason Ks, passing Roger Clemens. I'm gonna pass it over to you and let you tell that fun stat you got that he's got as well.
Yeah. So third overall all-time in strikeouts and third all-time in postseason wins. He just passed Tom Glavine for 14 for all-time or third all-time in wins. So fantastic outing by Verlander. Yeah, I was very excited. This guy's a Hall of Famer for sure. It's not going to stop. And now we had great pitching in game one. We're going to get great pitching in game two, and we possibly might get it on both sides of the field tomorrow with Garrett Cole, and you got Blake Snell. Cy Young winner from last year, so I'm excited for both of these guys to pitch next or tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. But Tommy Pham was a question that we had moving forward. What do you think about this Tommy Pham injury that we could be seeing?
So there was a double, and I don't remember which inning it is, and I do apologize. I want to say it was the fourth inning. Tommy Pham goes back to the wall. The ball's up 15 feet up the wall, and he still goes to jump a little bit. And as he goes to jump, he barely gets off the ground, and then he grabbed his left hip. And then when asked about it, he took and he waved it off, and then was still continuing to hold his left hip. I'm wondering if that could be a foregoing issue, because he was, I believe, 1 for 4 today or 0 for 4 today. He didn't look great. Can that affect his speed? Can that affect his everything, base running, batting? Can that affect even his fielding, because he is their, one of their good fielders out there. He is a leader of this Rays team. So it's going to be a question for sure. I want to also bring up Jose Altuve hits a 2-run homer. He put him up 2-0.
Beautiful.
And then it kind of just went out from there. They put up 6 runs. Everybody just kind of kept contributing. Presley gave up 2 runs in the 8th. And that's not like Presley to give up 2 runs. It was kind of unfamiliar to see that from him, and he was upset that he had gave up the 2 runs. And he left 2 more on. He was responsible for 4, and luckily the guy who came in, he went ahead and closed it out for him. But that was it was interesting to see Presley give up 2 runs, and you could see he was frustrated with himself over it. There was a bad error by Lau in the 5th inning or the 6th inning. It was just a horrible error. I wanted to bring it up because it's not postseason play, and you can't have those kind of plays in postseason. Anything else you want to add to it in this last 30 seconds real quick?
I would just say that don't count the Rays out. I know we're going to be talking predictions later for these division series, but even though they lost 6-2 today, don't count these guys out. These guys are not afraid to keep playing. You saw this incredible poise they had in the wild card game. They can hit the ball and they can put it out of the park, and they can change the score really quick. So don't count them out. Tomorrow's game is going to be very impressive to watch.
All righty. Twins, Yankees. Luis Reyes is back
Yeah.
for the Twins, and they're starting Barrios tonight. How do you think he's going to match up against this Yankees offense?
Yeah, I mean, this has been becoming a great playoff rivalry all around with these Twins and these Yankees. Last couple seasons, we've been seeing some really incredible baseball with the wild card game, the crazy wild card game a few years back. Yeah, and the Yankees have been getting the best of them, so we'll see if that changes here. The game should be happening right now as we speak, starting off. But yeah, Barrios, I was a little surprised that he was the game one starter. We'll see if that's a good decision on the Yankee squad here, or on the Twin squad here. But I overall think the Yankees are a better team than the Twins. Although they both can hit the crap out of the ball.
Yeah.
And that might be the deciding factor of this series is who hits the most home runs. But when it comes down to it, that's all going to be bullpen work probably. And the Yankees have definitely the advantage in that. They have a fantastic bullpen, although they haven't been as good as the past seasons, but they still have a lot of relievers who have a lot of playoff experience. So how about you? What do you think about this?
I think we're going to see what I like to call it. I think we're going to see football scores. I think we're going to see football scores.
Yeah,
I think
it
I
could
think
be.
I think we're going to see like 14
well.
to 7, 10 to 7. I think we're going to see high scoring games. The Yankees put a lot of money into that bullpen this offseason, but I don't think it's enough to hold off a pretty powerful lineup over there. You got Nelson Cruz. I think he hit 36 home runs this year. You had Rosario hitting just as many.
I mean, the team hit 307 home runs. The team hit
disgusting.
307 home runs. It was a
disgusting.
record. Yeah, amazing. But the Yankees were not far behind them. I think they hit like 306. Honestly,
and it was
also
really
close.
That was
so
also
this is going to be
just
a complete bomb.
Yeah, the Yankees were injured all year. It seemed like every time they had somebody come up and do good, somebody else was getting hurt. And it seems like that team, if they're all healthy, if they can all be healthy for this for this series right here, it could be scary. And like I said, I think it's going to be football numbers. I think we're going to see 10 to 7, 12 to 7. We're not going to see a 1-0 game over there on the AL side of things, I don't think. Unless it's that pitching matchup tomorrow. Unless it's the pitching matchup tomorrow between the Rays and the Astros. But that's about the only one I can see that's going to be that low scoring in the entire AL, because there's some good offenses over there.
Yes.
All right. Anything else you want to add in this last 10 little seconds here about either of the teams?
It'll be a great series for sure. We haven't been disappointed with these Yankees Twin series. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to watch it once this podcast ends.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see it myself. All right, let's go on to this Nationals-Dodgers game that happened last night, and it was bad. The Nationals got absolutely whooped up on. It was really bad. Walker Buehler looked good. How's Kershaw gonna look in Game 2? Because it's gonna be Kershaw-Strasburg. I think that's gonna be another great pitching duel. That's why I said we're not gonna see the runs in the NL like we thought we were gonna see, because it's just not going to happen on this side of things. I'm going to let you talk about them for a little minute and let you see what you got to say about each team.
Yeah, these teams are more overall, I think, well-rounded, I guess you could say, compared to the AL. These guys, I mean, the AL teams, they definitely, hit it out of the park. And so do these NL teams, too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Nationals hit the most home runs in franchise history this season, too. A lot of home runs this year, a lot of jacks. But yeah, this Strasburg-Kershaw matchup, this could be an even better matchup than seeing Buehler last night. Buehler was fantastic. There's a reason he started over Kershaw for Game 1. There is a reason for that. This guy is the next Kershaw for the Dodgers, which is unfortunate because you still have Kershaw right behind him. But Strasburg was amazing when he came in relief in the wild card game.
Yeah.
The bullpen for Washington was actually good, so we'll see if that can continue. Wasn't that great last night. But the wild card game for Washington was good. If they can find a way to bring back that kind of magic, other than what Scherzer was seeing, because he was a little shaky, then they'll be okay. If they can get a little bit of work out of guys off the bench, if Ryan Zim comes back, or Daniel Hudson from the pen. Notice I mentioned 2 guys from Virginia Beach right there. Those are my guys right there. But yeah, I think this game is going to be incredible tonight. It's going to be a fantastic pitching duel, and it could be easily we could be coming down to a 1-0 finish here. This could be a completely different game compared to these AL ones we've been talking about for sure.
Yeah, I was about to say the AL has a lot of offensive ones, but I think it's because the defense has kind of been lackluster, and a lot of the defensive better teams have been on the NL side of the ball this year. I really think that this is going to be the one matchup, in my personal opinion. I think the Dodgers are going to kind of run away with it a little bit, but I still like this matchup tonight at Kershaw-Strasburg. I want to sit there and watch that one because that one's going to be a gem. If that's not a gem, I'm going to be highly disappointed. Pitching. Yeah, I love a pitcher's duel.
Yeah.
When I go to a game, I anticipate pitcher's duels. Sometimes I get a little upset even when I go to a Cardinals game and we put up 7 freaking runs on somebody because I'm like, I just want to see you guys going and burning because it's just fun. I love, because that it always sets up the walk-off too, which is always beautiful. I think the walk-off run is the most beautiful thing in all of baseball. It's
absolutely.
Yeah, it's the best feeling.
Absolutely.
And that's what I think we're going to get into next is a little bit of Braves cards. I'm about to look at the score real quick, see what we're at. I don't know.
All right, you go ahead and do that.
I'm pretty sure we just lost. Yep. All right.
Check that final score.
Yep, we lost 3-0 today. But for game 1, we looked really good. We had one little issue. We had the problem of Edman and Wong doing the worst double error I've ever seen of my team. We're a defensive team. That's what we're known for. And if you have something like that happen behind you, it kind of just hurts all momentum you had going in that inning. And luckily we were able to get out of it. They only scored the 1 run off of that. Webb is going to be a huge concern for me going forward because I just can't believe that, he came in right after Miller and just let it open again. Luckily we came back in the top of the 9th. I thought 4 runs was enough, and then Martinez comes out and he just was like, "Hey, it's the home run derby, guys. Why don't you take a few off me real quick? Cool. You good? All right."
Crazy night.
Yeah, it was bad. Flaherty though tonight, I think he ended up giving up 3 runs over 7 innings. The first run in the first inning was the first one he's gave up in 20 innings. So it should tell you how good this Atlanta offense is. They see the ball well. And did you see the two errors today too? Colton Wong had another error today.
I didn't see the errors. Oh yeah.
And Albies had an error today. Albies had an error today at second as well. Those are the 2 guys who are competing for the NL Gold Glove at second base. Both have had errors today. It's one of those that's pretty bad. I can't believe
that's the crazy thing about playoffs.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. Yeah, I'll tell you, in that game 1 last night, the turning point, in my opinion, I think there was 2 things on the Braves side. That Martin injury when he came out, the warm up, and they didn't have anybody else behind him, and the Braves pitching was fantastic until then. He got hurt. He didn't even throw a pitch. They had to put Luke Jackson in, which he was stretching and got up a couple times, but yeah, Luke Jackson wasn't very good. I was questioning why they had Luke Jackson over Tehran in the first place. Tehran's finally going to get into this roster now that Martin's down. So we'll see what happens there. Also, Ronald Acuna, I know he had a home run in the 9th, and he did play well. I think he was 3 for – I know he had 2 hits and a walk. He's fantastic in a home run, but he didn't run out one that could easily be a double, wound up being a single. And then when he got to second base, he was double played out on another awful base running move. That hustle, you can't do that in the regular season. What makes you think you can do it at the playoffs? But this game 2, we made a comeback. And Duvall with a nice home run. I saw that. A nice 2-run jack against Flaherty too. So yeah, we'll 3-0, 1-1. This series is going to be fantastic. And with that being said, we have division series predictions, and we're already at it. And obviously we can see that we can go ahead and talk into it. I won't give my prediction, but
no, you're all right.
You can see that we're both Cardinals in.
Yadier Molina versus McCann is one of the coolest catchers. It's awesome. You're not going to see an error behind the plate like that. Not in this series. Not between those 2 guys. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to keep watching this series because I think those 2 are going to be fantastic behind the plate. And I just wanted to throw that out there because those are two seasoned vets behind the plate who they can run a game. They're pretty much the manager behind the plate for your pitcher, and that's what you need in this situation. And so let's get into division series predictions right now because that's going to lead right into what I'm saying. I think this series is going to go the full 5 games. I think the offenses between both teams is a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a very interesting series. And I'm going to make an even bolder prediction right now and say whoever wins this series is going to be playing in the World Series. Because I think that's how good these two teams are. I really enjoy the way they looked. I really enjoy the way the Cardinals look. I don't like losing in the playoffs ever, and losing just one game bugs me.
Who does?
Right. It just bugs me that we lost the one game. But I have to accept it, and we have to move on. And it's going to be Wainwright on the mound in Game 3. I'm almost sure of it. That guy right back there with his arms up, he's going to do it again because he's going to do, I don't know, a shutout probably. You know, we're just going to channel our inner '09 and just get a shutout on the Braves real quick. I mean, he's been pitching since. Man, what, 2001, I believe? 2006 is when he came in. And so he's been pitching 13 years now. The guy...
All right, well, let me just say...
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say that the only shutout that's going to happen is the one that just happened to you right there, all right? 3-0, that's it.
All right.
I agree. You know, Game 5 is going to be happening in Atlanta in this series. We are going to see a Game 5. It's going to be really intriguing to see what happens in St. Louis in Games 3 and 4. It really is. Wainwright's pitching, but hey, guess what? So is Soroka. Soroka is one hell of a pitcher. All right, so don't count him out yet. I'm looking forward to this series. You obviously have the Cardinals in 5 for good reason. I have the Braves in 5. We hold some good amounts of this. I'm looking forward to this series. It's going to be the best series. And I like your bold prediction. I really do. I'd like to say it too as a fan of the Braves, but that's just a tough one. I'm going to save mine until we talk next week because we'll be talking league championship then.
Oh yeah.
Let's move on to the other NL series, and that's the Nats and the Dodgers. Hey, you know, being from Virginia Beach, I always like to root for the Nats. I'm not a big Dodgers fan whatsoever, but the Dodgers are a great team.
Yeah.
They are fantastic. I don't think there's going to be a single sweep in these division series. I know you disagree, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to get the closest it's going to get. It's going to happen here. But I think Game 3 goes to Washington if they can't win tonight. Although the best pitcher for Washington is tonight, Dodgers are going to win it 4.
I think the Dodgers lose tonight in Washington, and then they're going to win the next 2.
Well, it's in Los Angeles.
Or they're going to win in LA. I'm sorry, you were talking about, but I think Strasburg's going to win this matchup between him and I think he's going to win that matchup for sure. I don't think that the Washingtons have it. I don't think the Nationals have it. Let's get over to the Yankees. I got them in 5. I like this matchup. I think it's going to be the other one that goes the whole way. Lots of runs scored. I see the timer going off. I don't even care. We're going to finish this out real quick. The Yankees in 5, though, is how I have it. I think that's going to be the other good one of this 2 series, the 4 series right now. You got anything you want to put in on that one real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. I give my prediction. You know, like I said earlier, these Twins and Yankees rivalries have been outstanding the last few years, and Yankees have got the best of them. You think it's going to finally be resolution for these Twins? No, it's not going to happen, in my opinion. I think the Yankees are a better team. I think the Twins rely a little too much on that long ball. I think like the Yankees are a little more well-rounded, although they both are bombers. That bullpen, I think, is going to be a difference for the Yankees. I think that postseason experience is going to do it. I think Yankees in 4.
Yankees in 4, okay. Yeah, I had him in 5 because I just think it's going to go the whole way. All right, the next one is the one we definitely agree or disagree on here, and I think that's because you think it's going to go at least a gentleman's sweep. I think the Astros have it in 3. That pitching is phenomenal. You got Greinke coming in. You have tonight or tomorrow night. What am I thinking? I'm getting tired tonight. But I just think this whole pitching core for Houston is great. I think that's going to be the turning point for these two teams. I don't think they're going to be able to match up. I don't think the Rays have anything. They have a few good pitchers, but I don't think that offense can compare to this Astros defense. Not with what I've seen today.
You know, and you make some valid points. You really do. But the Astros against the Rays this season, The Rays won 4-3. So they do have a winning record in the regular season. Now, I know playoff baseball is different, and you look at this pitching staff, and you don't have to have a 5-man rotation. You have a rotation of Verlander, Cole, and Greinke, which is insane. Who would think that'd be something? But the Rays, like I said, the tenacity of this team is insane. They worked like crazy. They have one of the lowest salaries, lowest payrolls in baseball. They actually cut it by $14 million this year, and they won 6 more games. The tenacity of this team is impressive. So I don't think they will allow themselves to be swept. Although they probably only play in front of 14 fans in Game 3 when they make it to Tampa. I don't think it'll happen. So I will give the Astros the win here just because that starting pitching, is incredible. I want the Rays to win because I think they're a really impressive team. But yeah, Astros, 4 games.
All right. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Next week we're going to be talking division, or we're going to be talking championship series. We're going to be telling you guys our predictions from that. Mm-hmm. One of us is going to be disappointed when it's time for that. I can guarantee you that, and that'll be okay though. Cause
sorry already in advance.
Huh? Yeah. Anyway, and we're going to be talking.
Sorry already in advance.
We're going to be talking NFL again because we got a whole nother week of football we're going to be seeing. It's going to be kind of interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.